Shalom, everybody. How is everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing great. It is that time again. It's Monday for reading. I know I missed last Monday, but I'm just glad that if you're able to follow me, you get those notifications. If you're wishing to, if not, then just know it's gonna be like every other, or just when it happens. But I'm so glad that these things are recorded, so this way, if time does go by, you can go and find it, and it should be there. If not, it's bound to come. And also, what I enjoy with the recordings is that it's there and it reminds me where I did leave off. So thank goodness that you put titles, and you can get back to where it was that you left off. So I did see that I did complete chapter 11 and 12 from my last reading. But I thought to share a little bit something different that came to my mind that I just worked on it. So I'm probably going to be putting it by post in Facebook here pretty soon. So that way everybody over there can see my thoughts that came to me with Father and hope. I'm hoping with what comes to my mind to put out before him, for him, before him. It's never not taken wrong, because we never want to offend Father. That's who it is that we are to reverence and really think upon what we're about to put out, and then just hope that he sees your heart and how you're trying to present it. Granted that it has to be about his truth, and it's not about your own this is how I want to believe him kind of stuff, or this is how I believe him, with no foundation coming from his word, because he's the foundation, and he's supposed to be where you get your material to stack on Yeshua, and build on his dad's sayings. So everything that we do has to be really thought, and considered. Could this be something that could get me in trouble with you or not? Because of course, when you start doing his word, it's so powerful. It's so amazing, because he shows himself. He'll let you know if he disapproves, or he lets you know if it made his day. Blessings come, or little chastisements in senses where it's like, well, why is this happening? And don't get me wrong, there are those moments where um, is it the adversary, the evil one, coming just to cause a problem, so this way it can seem like it's coming from Father. Yeah, there is that too. There's just so much about this spiritual realm where it's like you just wonder, is it in testing mode, of like Job's situation, or is it a chastisement where it's actually approved by Father? So this way, you understand that you kind of erred, and it's something that you need to really ponder, where you can try to find where it needs fixing. So yeah, there's it's a journey. It's a real journey when you finally um, come to the realization how to put the mind of Father on, because it does say that um, when, how does he say it, like, my thoughts are not your thoughts, my ways are not your ways. And it is so, until you start really looking into what his ways truly are. So you can put his mind on, you can understand his ways when you get back to the foundation of his words. What he says goes, and what he said don't do it. But anyways, yeah, I thought to bring in a little bit of an extra piece, just to, like, I don't know, become much more comfortable and bringing myself and showing more of myself before you all, before I just go about just reading and just giving all my insights through it. So I got that to be a little bit more personal today with you guys, on just knowing me, knowing this who's this girl, in the kingdom that represents, Messiah, and calls herself my sister as well, because it does take a lot of um, effort to knowing who is really there with the right intents of being, seen as a brother or a sister, and who is there just playing the part. They're just part of the terrors, part of the adversaries clan, and just trying to get things messed up. But anyways, with that, to bring it a little bit more personal today with the way I process with Father. But anyways, um, coming out of where I came from, um, being, of still like denominational phases, and not really giving mind to the Bible yet, having um, being led more by man's um, leading. You have your priests and you have your pastors, um, that you sit under, and you just take their word for it, because we are shown that we should respect our teachers. And yes, those that stay stuck in the New Testament will point to those places where we are to respect our leaders, and it is so. But if they're doing their part well as a minister, they should be still directing you to the foundation of Father, where his words began, the Old Testament, and showing you how to um, put the Holy Spirit, his Holy Spirit, on you to bring about your walk for the community, because you play a role in it too. All of us do. So even your minister and your priest should be able to hear things, and see things by you, because all of us, the Father's changed it. It's been changed through Yeshua. So all of us, it's gonna come by the heart. He's gonna be writing things on the heart for how we were to bring these, um, you know, new type of sacrifices through Yeshua and stuff like that. But of course, like I said, everything's by later on. When we get there, we will see where Father has, you know, put it more for us to come to Him in the way of His Son, and stuff like that. But anyways, so in my thought process, with knowing my background, um, I was into lots of movies, and I was into, of course, romance. Everything was, as a child, I don't know, I was just like that little girly girl, the princess kind. My brother and my sister could attest to that, if you ever got to meet them. And yeah, I played with my dolls and had little tea parties with my dolls and stuff like that. So I was really really girl. No, I didn't really play with my sister because my sister and I were so many years apart. I think 11 years apart. I think 13 with my brother and 11 years with my sister. So I've never lost um, that part of me in me, like the romance and books of romance and stuff like that. And I still have my moments of going to some of um, other materials other than Father, but I always have to remind myself that don't stay stuck in those, because yes, the things that we see in our faces, the things that we put in our place in our faces can become an idol to us, and they can um, take us off the course of being in Father's mind. His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. So it can drift you, and you can start thinking something totally opposite to what he would have you be thinking, by how couples should come together, or how marriage should come together. If you keep to the things that are like for your own leisure, your own pleasure, it can get you away again from that of what you should know by Father. And so I always have to reel it in and remind myself, like, okay, you've done so much time with this one book. Now go and get back right into the right direction and give more time. So like if I went 20 minutes, give it an hour with Father. Always trying to remind myself, get back to His, because there's the kind of like the fairy tale world, but then there is the truth, the right truth of His world, the kingdom that we are supposed to be living right by. Okay, so kingdom minded rather than earthly minded, something that's still your flesh man desires. So more heavenly. But so, anyways, with that said, as I was thinking on, the stories that I had once uh, was it, passioned over, and if I ever thought to like write my own type of fairy tale story, but of course, it being godly, being of kingdom mindset this time, what would that consist of? Because I have been told a lot of encouraging words by a lot of brothers and sisters. Well, I think more sisters than brothers, I think. But anyways, uh, but I've been encouraged to consider like even writing a book or a story that it seems like I have good ways of putting words together for Father, and it's been encouraging to others, and that's been something for me to hear. Like I've never seen that side of me. I love to speak to Him. I love to talk on Him. I love to, and I just share, the day, and I guess just for what I share of the day, it touches others, and that's what has touched me, is that I didn't know I was touching someone else in how I shared it, the way I shared it. So with those encouraging words, it's always stayed stuck on me, like how would I get going on that, and then of course I also had like because there is a part in the word where it does talk about like even witches and wizards and all them, I guess, the dark forces, the ones that practiced it, they ended up coming to Father, getting rid of their materials. But of course a lot of it was on what they do by I don't know, their whatever they do, from their books, the dark, whatever you say stuff, or you uh rituals, whatever. um I don't know too much of that. I mean, yes, there are parts in fairy tale stories where they show the witch or this and that, but I've never really paid mind to that. Of course, like I said, I was girly girl, so I always wanted to see the girl with the guy. And so with Father, it's like my passion hasn't really too much died. I see where the love stories are within his word, and I see um, just how we are His bride, and how He is with His people, being His bride. So it hasn't really ended for me with that type of passion. And so today I wrote my own type of little mini fairy tale, but it has verses in there, and it's it's with Him. So you have to kind of know um, the word, and I understand when I speak. I've said so many times that uh, just in case many of you have not read. Okay, so I know I say that a lot, and keeping you all in mind, because not everybody has yet to open up the Bible. They have yet to do it. Either one, they're atheists or don't believe in a God, or secondly, they are still under the influence of their ministers being the only ones to give them what they need, and therefore don't encourage them to do so. They might say it little bits here and there, but they might have you just reading a portion of it to keep with their traditional doctrines. So there's that mindset as well. So I keep that in mind. But with today, this is more like you got to know the word in order to kind of know where I'm going with it. But hopefully, you'll see where I was coming from whenever, as you're following along with me, you'll see, oh, I can see how she kind of connected that for that piece. And so, um, but with that in mind, before I get to it, the little story I wrote, um, with me explaining about like the witches and wizards coming to mind, that they actually came in. I don't know anybody. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have like an inkling of certain people now that I've come into this walk a lot more stronger, and seeing everybody around me and evaluating and seeing what lies in their heart, and come to it. It kind of seems like I even had classmates, or I might have classmates that dabble in it, in that arena of the spirit realm. But with them being in my mind, I thought, well, if this can kind of capture them, then, my version of a fairy tale, then, I pray. I pray for those that are practicing those things that should not be. They're robbing from Father. They're going about it in the wrong way, going because these things that they do is secrecies from the spirit realm, which is his realm. And yeah, and we'll get to that in the word where he talks on those things. And but anyways, I do pray for those that are into that, that they will come to the realization that it's kind of like what I've seen from the fairy tales, where it's always in caution, even to their own practice, which is funny, right in their own face. And every movie depicts it, where the witch, who's doing these dabblings or speaking to something, or the wizard or whatever, they always say it comes with the cost. It's like, you all know this. It comes with the cost. And yeah, I get it. We can also put it in the same lighting as to those that are following Messiah or following Yehovah, now being baptized in him. And then you see these like things that come by either chastisement, or the things that come by testing. I get it. But the thing is that when you're under him, he gives you that the escape. He gives you the answers of how to like get out of this that he's letting come towards you, or how to make things right, um, rather than those that are practicing it. And the consequence comes, it's kind of at its permanent state, and therefore when you meet him, it's no more fixable. That's the best way I can put it, to how I understand the whole spiritual warfare, with many different types of departments of the spiritual warfare. But anyways, so that's who was on my mind as well. So here's the little piece that I had wrote. If I were to ever have like a fairy tale type of setting, but based on truth, so it's a wish to come true, a hope to come true. Um, so I put, once upon a time, so long ago, there was a known God, very well known. He created all, and placed a part of himself within all. And I took that from Colossians 1:16 through 17, and Joel 2:28. Sadly, though, as many tales go, a rebellious spirit presented itself and came to manipulate what this well-known God took delight in. And we can see that in Genesis 1:31, when he saw everything was good, and in Genesis 3:13, where you see Eve confessing that she was deceived by this one spirit. Legend has it, though, that he still exists, but that only the fearless can find him. Can you imagine? Dare to try? Feel you brave to journey from imagination to action? The audacity in one's tale, in putting scripture to one's sail. One last thing forgot to mention. Those who've embarked that wondrous Noah's Ark went in one way and came back a transformed shui. And looking up that word by shui, because I just wanted it to rhyme with way, is another source of like chill, cool, good, kind of reverting it back to what he once saw as good. So if you get back into the word, you're going to get this shui about you. You're going to get back to being good. If this doesn't muse you to seduce you, okay, so I have to use certain words that I know that like those that practice those things, you can catch their ear. Sometimes you use what catches those that do those things, their ear. So just using what I recall. If this doesn't muse you to seduce you, that's okay. The God of this powerful book is not for the faint of heart. But even by rejection of it, either in believing in it partially or in that full disbelief, holds true to its power of what is said of those who do. The rebellious spirit I've come to mention is that self-same spirit in those with rejection. Demons held within are from willful rebellion. Many don't want to read the word of that well-known God, their Bible, because it will expose them. It's to set them free by that exposure. But many want to remain sinners, wicked, a rebel. And that I take from John 3:19 through 21. So there you have it. I tried something a little different with him today to bring an offering of a different thought, for not just to show my how do I say it, my passion for him, from what I can recall, but to now how I see him as, but hoping that with what I am presenting for him, if it works, to try to get more of his truth out there to those that are still stuck in like this fairy tale, enjoying these uh, fictional, stories. If it can help in that department to try to get them to see him, that all these things that we've come to know or that we once took pleasure in, all have a truth to him. It brings us back to him. If you really take your time to look at these things and find where it's like, hey, that kind of, these artists, they don't they get the credit, but honestly, when you really dive into the word, that's where this stuff, I think, might even have an inspiration that they don't even know. But of course, they give the glory to the wrong spirit, the one that has lots of power, well, is given the power, I shouldn't say has the power. Yeshua took it. But many still give power over to the enemy, like if he's the one that's given them these things. But it all originates to the one true creator of us all, who has all of our lives set up if we were to just pay attention. But anyways, that was just a small piece before I get started with our reading. I know it might be a long recording for today, but I just wanted to give a little bit more of me to all of you. Okay, so let's get to it. I'll go ahead and pray, and then I'll put our 1 hour down, and then see what Father's word has to show us today. Okay. Father Yahweh, I come before your presence, giving you praise and thanks, Abba, being able to think on you and meditate on uh, many different ways to try to um, utilize the stuff that you give us to be able to try and help others to see um, you, seeing where they might be at, where we once were, and trying to get them to get back to where it stems from, where it comes from, and to know that these things, um, by your own word, are where we're supposed to be obedient and get influence, be inspired by you and to live right by you, giving all glory and honor to you by everything, Father. So I kind of see it kind of like the way Paul was when he was trying to be, for people, seeing where they were at, and then bringing your truth to them. So I do enjoy that understanding from Paul's example there, and I pray that what I have brought forth, you know, by if there was a fairy tale to be told, which and it is, but it's on truth, um, has made you smile, and that you bring many more to see that it's you are that king that we all hope to be with, Abba. So I just thank you. I thank you that I can drift in thoughts with you and be guided by you and shown your mind of how to serve you, what it is that is going to come. Your kingdom's going to come, and these things that we read from your word are going to happen, and we'll be ready. It's so nice to know what pleases you, so this way we don't find ourselves um, getting into that lake of fire where there's no more of a chance to ask for forgiveness. So I thank you, Abba, you know, for giving us your word so we can know you, so we can please you. So I pray, Abba, for many of those that are just coming to your word and just trying to open it up, see who this God is that their denomination tells them, or just by their own curiosity, that it grows and that they see that you are not hard to follow. You are easy to love and you're easy to follow. Your ways are good, So this way they become your children and they have a place to be with you for eternity, always around you. So I pray that just kind of like Naaman's story, that until they fully give themselves over to Yeshua, to get baptized in his name, to put him on, to say, you know what, I am ready, I am willing to live exactly as this God, this King wants me to live for his kingdom, that they come and they keep getting themselves cleansed, getting washed, no matter how much, um, you know, uh, how many times they have to keep reading over and over your word, to keep getting that cleansing out of them, that cleansing within them for whatever it is that they're working out, letting go of that old nature, that old man that keeps them within sin, that they keep going and dunking themselves, um, by that example. Get to the word, come often, keep cleansing yourself. So this way, when they finally feel they can master, all the temptations that the enemy places before them, you know, to take them down, or even that you might be testing them to see if they're strong enough to be drawn closer with much more information, that they can see that they can master it and get more and more cleansed, and will come to that place of wanting to give themselves willfully and excitedly to you. So I thank you, Abba, and I pray for all of us, all of us that have already put ourselves in the water to give ourselves wholly to you through Yeshua's name, in Yeshua's name, through him and in him, that we stay strong and continue working our faith and continue reading and knowing and doing what you ask us to do, because we can always slip and fall, Abba. But we thank you, Abba, that when we do, if we do slip and fall, we know exactly where we gotta go and how to fix it. We know exactly that you have your word written on our hearts to tell us there's something there. Go and find it and make it right. So I thank you, Abba. I thank you of how you know how to connect to each and every one of us here on this earth, and how we look forward to being with you when your kingdom comes. In Yeshua's name, Abba, I pray. Amen. Okay, so let us get into it. I'm getting the time on my phone, so okay, 1 hour. Okay, so just to recap, like I'm always trying to get us to always recall what it is that we read, because it helps us to continue with the story as it goes. And then if it enhances us to even have a thought on it, like, of course, if it's my thought, but if it enhances something, um, to bring in extra awareness, or something that will help us down the road, to recapping a certain where we have come from. That's, to me, that I think that's why it's great to always have that recap going. Okay, so, well, we did read chapter 11, which was the Tower of Babel, and we got to see where the people had this mind about them that, you know, to build a big tower, um, and to be a people like, um, that nothing can come against, in a sense, if you kind of look at it that way. But seeing how the attitude must have been, because Father having come down and seeing what their intent was, kind of seems like how we've been seeing this whole time, where he wasn't really involved, where they might have not even cared to ask him, what we have in mind to be building, is this your approval? Because we saw where sin, by the first set of people before the flood, um, they they didn't think on him. They didn't ask him. They stopped listening. Um, that it just started to increase. We saw where they thought to use his own words against him, in a sense, by Lamech, how I was telling you back then, thinking they can get away with what was in their mind, and then how it came to be, like, where it almost it seems like Noah kind of dropped the ball just a little bit there, where he got drunk, and then all of a sudden something came about with his own son Ham, and then he cursed. To me, I'm still in thoughts that it could be Canaan is not his own son, it's his grandson, and possibly by the wrong uh, way of coming about from the possible thoughts with Ham with his own mom. So you do see where the sin is still kind of like there, present, and father is kind of still to the side, and of course we do see where his words do come in at points, where those that finally do stay with him and still keep paying attention to him, he gives them what they need to know. And then but then we see where they don't inquire of him, they don't ask him, and then something else comes about. So anyways, so that whole Tower of Babel incident to me was that where they didn't ask him, and now he's seeing where their mindsets were, and he's just like, ah, we're taking this down, we're gonna confuse their language so their plans will not come to be. And then there is the scripture, the other verse, I should say. I think it's by Yeshua's statement. I would have to go find it. But in a sense that if you're not building, you know, um, if you're building on sinking sand, it's gonna come down. You know, you have to have the foundation. You have to have Father to build on, and His approval. If not, then it's not going to hold. And so we have that to recall. And then we got to see Shem's descendants, and then Terah's. I'm just going off by the titles of what I read the last time. And Terah's descendants, where Abraham starts to come into the picture. And then, of course, then we have the call of Abraham, where Father did call to Abraham and to start seeing if he's going to accept him as his father and to listen and obey him. And then we got to see Abraham and Sarai in Egypt, and where we're seeing how it takes some work to put in that trust with Father. It looks like, for you can come in, and give yourself to Him, but then still kind of go about doing things the way you feel is best. And it's not to say that what you don't grab from the world before coming to Him, that you don't have some instinct, where it's like, okay, this. But when you already have Him, when you finally get to that strength of trust in Him, you can be open and honest, you know, how do I say it? Open and honest with ease, knowing the fact that nothing's going to come about because your Father has your backs. But, you do have where Abraham did go ahead and lie to Pharaoh because, of course, he had that instinct that, I'm going to die. And sure enough, maybe he could have. But we do see where he's like, he's going to want you. So it's not like he didn't tell his wife good stuff, to let her know, like, he's going to want you. And he did. But as far as would Pharaoh have killed him if he would have been truthful, nobody knows. He just went ahead and went with his instinct of what he's known that does come about, and went with that rather than just knowing the fact that he just gave himself over to Father, being able to, see this God who says, I'm going to be with you wherever you go, and still needing to work out that trust. And he could have just told Pharaoh the truth, all the way through and not have to worry. But because he went with his instinct of like what he knew from the world or whatever, um, is what he got from his understanding growing up before he got father. Uh, the father had to help him in a different way and to show Pharaoh, like don't don't touch his wife, to where Pharaoh and his people got plagued there for a moment. Um, so uh, we that's why we have to get stronger with our relationship with Father, so this way by us, um, we don't set someone else up for failure. you know uh, yeah, we have to do our due diligence to really put our faith into motion and our trust, strong trust, that He's got us. So this way, those that have yet to come don't have to see Him in a different, uh, see Him come to our aid in a different way. But Father's there, but anyways, that's what we can recall from those points. Okay, so moving on, we are in chapter 13 now. We have Abraham and Lot separate. Okay, that's the title for this chapter. Um, the first portion of it, anyways. Okay, I guess it's for the entire chapter looking at it. Okay, and so we do have on this page a letter A. So I thought before I read, let me check where this little A would be, and if it's within this new material to read or to start reading on, then I know when to bring it in. But if it's from the old, I'm just gonna go ahead and move forward from it. So one moment, please forgive me. I am trying to just, like I said, I want to give us, because this is a brand new book for me. I even want to give myself everything I possibly can get out of it, um, to, enhance my understanding. I don't want to just leave nothing behind because everything's useful. Okay, so oh, there was that next. I remember a long time ago. Sorry, I am so sorry. Just trying to find it. That's it. I don't know if this mic is picking up any echo from the back, but if you all are hearing hearing laughter, that's my son back there, um, laughing in his room, watching little, I don't know, TikTok shorts or something like that. Oh, okay, I spotted the little A, but it was from our last reading, and I think I did mention that one. So I am gonna skip it. Let's go on. Okay, so and that's it for like the little, you know, uh, words that is can be changed with something that is in the reading. Okay, so Abram went up from Egypt. I guess I can go back a little bit so this way we can go on. Okay, I'll just go. I'll go from 10. from the last chapter. And a famine came over the earth, and Abram went down into Egypt to dwell beside there, because the famine over the earth was strong. It happened when Abram came near to enter into Egypt, Abram said to Sarai, his wife, I know that you are a beautiful woman, so this will happen. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, this is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will keep you. Say, then, I am his sister, so that it will be well with me because of you, and my soul will live on your account. It happened when Abram entered into Egypt once the Egyptians saw his wife, that she was very beautiful, that rulers of Pharaoh saw her and praised her to Pharaoh, and they led her to Pharaoh, and they treated Abram well because of her. And he had sheep and calves and donkeys, servants and maids, mules and camels. And Jehovah afflicted Pharaoh and his house with great and grievous trials because of Sarai, Abram's wife. Pharaoh, having summoned Abram, said, What is this you did to me, that you did not tell me that she is your wife? Why did you say she is my sister, so that I took her as a wife for myself? And now look, your wife is before you. Take her, depart. And Pharaoh commanded men regarding Abram, that they should accompany him and his wife and all that was his, and Lot with him. Chapter 13. Abram went up from Egypt, he and his wife and all his things, and Lot with him, into the wilderness. Abram was very rich in livestock, and in silver, and in gold. And he went from where he had come into the wilderness to Bethel, as far as the place where his tent had been before, between Bethel and Ai, to the place of the altar where he pitched his tent. And there Abram invoked the name of Jehovah, and sheep and oxen and livestock belonged to Lot. Okay, so I don't know how to look at that part. To the place of the altar where he pitched his tent, and there Abram invoked the name of Jehovah. So I guess it is kind of like one of those things where you kind of claim the land. So that could possibly be a thought to consider, because it's showing us where he was heading, and then where he ended up pitching his tent, and now um, claiming the territory for father. Verse 5, and sheep, that's just a thought, and sheep and oxen and livestock belonged to Lot, who came along with Abram. And the land did not have room for them to live together, because their possessions were abundant. So they were not able to live together. And a fight took place between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. Now the Canaanites and the Perizzites were residing in the land at the time. And Abram said to Lot, Let there be no contention between me and you, and between your herdsmen and my herdsmen, because we are brothers. For look at the whole land before you. Part company with me. If you go to the left, I will go to the right. But if you go right, I will go left. And when Lot raised his eyes, he saw all the country round about the Jordan, that all was watered, before Jehovah overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Okay, so this is in parentheses. It's giving us an insight Okay, so it's before Yehovah overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, what it would have um, looked like. It's giving us a thought to consider. Um, because when you get to Sodom and Gomorrah and you understand that Father demolished it. He burned it, the whole place. Probably didn't look as what we are seeing by it now. So it's just giving us this insight that this was before then. Um, like the garden of Yehovah. Okay. He saw all the country. Sorry, I'll go back. He saw all the country round about the Jordan, that all was watered. Um, Before Yehovah overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, like the garden of God, and like the land of Egypt up to Zor. Okay, so like the garden of Yehovah, and like the land of Egypt up to Zor. And Lot chose all the country round about the Jordan for himself. And Lot departed from the east, and they each parted ways from their brother. Abram settled in the land of Canaan, but Lot settled in a city of the surrounding region and pitched his tent in Sodom. The people who were in Sodom were very evil and sinful before Jehovah. Jehovah said to Abram, after Lot parted ways with him, look up with your eyes and look from the place where you are now to the north and the south and the east and the sea, because I will give you and your offspring all the land that you see forever. And I will make your offspring like the sand of the earth. If anyone can count the sand of the earth, then your offspring will also be counted. Get up and travel through the length and breadth of the land, because I will give it to you and to your offspring forever. And after decamping, Abram went and settled beside the oak of Mamre, which was in Hebron, and he built an altar for Jehovah there. Okay, so we're getting closer to chapter 13, but let's see what we can, or what I can think on uh, from this small portion. Okay, so we do see where, contention was coming about between Abram and his nephew. And so instead of, you know, departing on um, anger, things that can keep a grudge forever. He's like, let's do this, kindly. Let's do this lovingly. It doesn't have to be um, something that keeps us forever hating each other. And so Abram, you know, did it, you know, lovingly, letting even his own nephew choose first which part of the land he wanted to go towards. And then, okay, we are shown that, before Sodom and Gomorrah got burnt, we got to see a little piece of why he chose it, that it was full of water, that, it looked good. It was well watered. That's the reason why he chose it for his livestock. Mm. And so then, of course, it's not in brackets, but it's letting us know, at least by 13, verse 13, the people who were in Sodom and were um were very evil and sinful before Yehovah. So it's kind of even giving us a little note to keep, because eventually we're gonna end up seeing the angels that get there. So, but Lot doesn't know this at this point. He's just chosen the place he wants to go. So Lot's situation will come much later. Okay, so other than that, that's just about it. And Father's just letting Abram know that, of what's more to come by Father's favor on him. And so right there, in Mamre, which was Hebron, is where he uh, dedicated an altar. He built an altar for Yehovah there. Okay, chapter 14. The title for this portion is Abram Rescues Lot. This happened in the region. This happened in the reign of Amraphel. Okay. This happened in the reign of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar. Okay. And Shidolamar, king of Elam, and Thargal, king of nations, made war with Bela, king of Sodom, and with Birsha, king of Gomorrah, and Shinar, king of Admah, and Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and with the king of Bela. This is Zor. All these conspired at the salt chasm. This is the sea of salt. For 12 years they served Kedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they revolted. Okay, so we're seeing some kings turn on each other, a rivalry thing, I guess. Built in but in the 13th year they revolted. In the 14th year, Kedorlaomer and the kings who were with him came and massacred the giants who were in Ashtaroth, Canaan, and strong nations together with them, and the Emim who were in the city of Shaveh, and the Horites who were in the mountains of Seir, as far as the Terebinth of Paran, which is in the wilderness. And when they returned, they came to the fountain of judgment. This is Kadesh, and massacred all the rulers of Amalek, and the Amorites, who were dwelling in Hazazon, Tamar, the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, this is Zor, came out, and they arrayed their armies against them for a battle in the Salt Valley against Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elazar, these four kings against the five. Okay, so there was a division here. It seems like rivalry, or I don't know, they just became, at odds with each other. These four kings against the five. Now the Salt Valley had pits of tar. The king of Sodom and the king of Gomorrah fled and fell in there. Those who were left behind fled into the mountains. They took every horse that belonged to Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their provisions, and went away. They took also Lot, the son of the brother of Abram, and his household stuff, and they left, for he was living in Sodom, and they left, for he was living in Sodom. So you can see that, the collection came after these kings fell. Then everything that belonged that was in that king's area now belongs to the one that defeated it. So um, now he's captured Lot and his family and stuff. Okay, so he's going into captivity. They took also Lot, the son of the brother of Abram, and his household stuff, and they left, for he was living in Sodom. And one of those who had been delivered approached and reported to Abram. Approached and reported to Abram, the migrant. Okay, so delivered, he got saved somehow, or so someone was able to go and report to Abram. I don't know how it got delivered. Did they let him go, or if he himself just knew how to escape that kind of deliverance? That's another sort. He was blessed uh, to escape. His Father will give you some stuff in your mind of how to how to get out of something. And so it was reported to Abram. Now the Amorite himself dwelt at the oak of Mamre, the brother of Ishkol, and the brother of Onan, who were allies of Abram. Okay. Abram, upon hearing that his brother Lot was taken prisoner, counted his own household members, 318, and he pursued them as far as Dan, and he fell upon them at night, he and his servants, and he struck them and chased them to Hobah, which is on the left of Damascus. And he brought back every horse of Sodom, and he brought back Lot his brother, and all his possessions, and the women and the people. Okay, so we do see where Abram has rescued his nephew, and even more, even the people. Okay. The king of Sodom came out into the Shaveh valley. This was the plain of kings. Can you give me some water? Sorry, everybody. Trying not to cough so much. Okay, so the king of Sodom came out into the Shaveh valley. This was the plain of kings. To meet him after he returned from the slaughter of Kedolamor. Sorry. The king of Sodom came out into the Shaveh valley. This was the plain of kings. Okay, that's in brackets. That's in parentheses there. This was to let us know about this valley. This was the plain of kings. To meet him after he returned from the slaughter of Kedolamar, and the kings who were with him, and Melchizedek, there's different ways of I've heard it mentioned, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. Now he was priest of the highest God. And he blessed Abram and said, Blessed be Abram by the highest Jehovah, who created the heavens and the earth, and blessed be the highest Elohei Jehovah, who delivered your enemies in your hand. And he gave him a tenth of everything. The king of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the men, but take the horse for yourself. But Abram said to the king of Sodom, I will stretch out my hand to the highest Jehovah, who created the heavens and the earth. If I take from a string to a sandal thong from all your things, in order that you might not say, I made Abram wealthy, except for what the young men ate, and the portion of the men who came along with me, Eshcol, Onan, Mamre, these will take a portion. Okay, so that is the end of chapter 14. Let's see what it is I can speak on here. Okay, we do have little letters, and I'm not really good with battle terminology, war language, so it's hard for me to know everything, mm, plotting where things would be seen on a map as well, um, for all this to that has taken place. But let me go through the little letters that I see here on the bottom to place them where I guess words can be swapped or it can be said a different way. Okay. Need your patience once again to give us everything from this book. Okay, so the letter A, it's found in chapter 13 where we came out of, and it's by the word forever, and it just means it says literal until the age. Okay, so it could be read, I guess, because I will give you and your offspring all the land that you see until the age. Okay, then we have the letter B. Which is on verse 17 of chapter 13 also, and it's by the word and it means literally having arisen. Having arisen. So instead of it saying get up and travel, it could be said having arisen, and travel, having arisen and travel through the link. Okay, then we have the letter C, which is also still in chapter 13, and it is by the word land. It's by the word land, and it's literally land both unto the length of it and unto the breadth, yeah. Land both unto the length of it and unto the breadth. So I guess it could be said, having arisen and travel through the length or through land both unto the length of it and unto the breadth. No, which one seems a little more easier? I think it's good the way it's spoken, I guess, or written. And then we have the letter D, which is, I guess everything was just meant for chapter 13 because that's where it's all at. It's also by the word forever once again, and that means the same thing. It could be changed to unto the ages. And then we have the last little letter that's next to a word also in chapter 13, in verse 18. And it's by the word and it means literal having gone. So it says, and after decamping, Abram went but I guess it could say, and after decamping, Abraham went having gone, or Abram having gone, settled. So that's other ways to read it. These things are important. So this way, if one just makes a little bit much more sense to capture the whole of what's being read, by your own understanding, and I say go with that. That's why I take my time to see it now. It's like I said, it's taking me a while to understand that. How do you read this entire Bible and capture every single understanding of it? So I'm thankful for those that have taught us about the other tools that were out there that it makes it important to understand Father the right way. Okay, back to, we only have 17 minutes left, so I'm just going to try my best to see how I'm really understanding this chapter, because truly I'm not great with like I said, war situations. Yeah, we could see that there is um some type of a revolt, a going against a particular, I guess, ruler that some of the other kings themselves were getting sick and tired of, I guess, um, being in a alliance to him. That's all I'm assuming. Being, you know, committed to him. Um, let's see what else. And see right here, I don't understand. I guess the king of Sodom and the king of Gomorrah fled and fell in there. Because it says, now the Salt Valley had pits of tar. The king of Sodom and the king of Gomorrah fled and fell in there. It kind of makes me wonder, like, how is it that this king got out of this pits of tar? Because when you think of tar, isn't it like that sticky, like, that keeps you? But then you see it later on here in verse 17 that the king of Sodom came out into the Shaveh Valley after all was said and done. So somehow they got out of it. This was the plain of the kings to meet with Abraham there. So I don't know how to how to think of that, but yeah, you have that type of what's going on there. Seeing that the king of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell in that one area of pits of tar. Could just be that it's just letting you know of that little area. But when it says fell in there, it makes you think like they actually fell into that pits of tar, unless tar means totally something different than what I'm understanding about. Because, like I said, when you get into looking at certain words and really finding the definition, it's not totally exactly what you're thinking it was. So it could be something totally different. But anyways, and then we do see Abram had he did rescue him, his nephew, and many more. And I guess, Abram was becoming really, or was always, some type of, wealthy man. For him to have allies, he is like a wealthy man. Hmm. And then, of course, we have this Melchizedek, or Melchizedek, how do you say it? King of Salem. I forgot what Salem meant, but that's like Jerusalem, right? The first name for Jerusalem. something peace, I think was righteous, something on Melchizedek as well. Sorry, just trying to recap what I have been taught, and I haven't had grasped it fully on the name of Melchizedek, or if it's just a title, and then the name of Salem, I think, is the first name of Jerusalem. And then we can see that Abram himself doesn't let the king of Sodom bless him with much more riches, because Abram wants to just give place to Father for being credited his, where his things come from. And that's why you can even see where Melchizedek himself is telling Abram, that he's been blessed by the one true God that that made him victorious over in the battlefield. So easy, so Abram just wants to stick to giving that one full credit for where his blessings come from. So he didn't let the king of Sodom give him anything except for what those that went into battle with him, his allies, his friends, got to eat, and whatever else was given to them. So he was like, just be a blessing to them. I know where mine come from. Then we see where Abram himself gives a tenth of everything. I don't know. I sometimes still read it like in two different ways. Like if this Melchizedek himself gives to Abram, but I think it's the opposite. I think it is where Abraham is giving his tenth of everything. And that's where it's everything. It's not just by his grains and, his food supply, his livestock, it's of people and of food. And food, people, I'm assuming, and, possibly his riches. And we'll see down the road more examples too, that of when people offered stuff to Yehovah, um, to the high priests and stuff like that, what was given. So, but yeah, I think that is all that I can glean, or that I'm understanding anyways, by everything that we read here in 13 and in 14, and then of course with everything that I could think on, possibly by extra to the recaps that was shared. Other than that, that takes care of our reading for today. I hope it was a blessing. I know I'm not always looking up on the camera because I'm just trying to really take in what is being said. Because, like I said, it's been a long while since I've gone back to reading from the word all over, from the beginning all the way to the end again, and this is good. I'm glad. I'm happy that I've been encouraged to come out and start working my own way of ministry, my own way of thought process for Father's kingdom, and how to try to help the community as best as I can with how I'm understanding things. And like I said, I encourage you to always check, double check where I'm coming from, find me and let me know your thoughts. Maybe what you have by a different understanding can sharpen me even extra. This way, I'm not leaning to my own understanding. This way, I don't find myself, offending Father in any manner that can cause me to get in trouble. This is why it is important to have a community with one another to try to hear His Spirit in each of us. Because, like I said, He has poured Himself on all of us to be able to speak for Him. And He wants us to see His children all communicating and taking care of each other and watching out for each other. But yeah, that's all I have here today. I hope it was fun to hear even my efforted little, if I had my own little how do you say, romantic tale. I'm not gonna say fairy tale because that would make it seem like something of a false story. That'd make it seem like it's one of like fantasy, of course, fairy, but that it's a romantic tale, something based on truth. If I ever wrote a book. But anyways, 5 minutes left, and I will go ahead and pray us out and wish everybody the best of the week. Bless everybody the best of the week. I don't want someone to look. I did look for that word though. It can be found in the Bible. I just have to take time to go and find it again. But there is the word wish. So I know some might say that's not good. That's for like those type of stories. But no, I did spot it in the word. Like I said, once I find out, I can come back and share it right where it also says it. But to hope everybody the best of the remainder of the week, anyways. Father Jehovah, I come before you, lifting up my efforted readings before you, Abba. I am so glad that I can come to your mountain and minister the best that I understand anyway before you, to show you if I am retaining well, to show you if that that your word is being efforted even for, just to be able to come before you and show you how I have made you important to my life, something that is desired, wanted, to bring, just to bring me before you and just show you that I have chosen you as my God to serve. And by serving, we bring things to you. And that is by what it is that you have given us to bring. So you give us your word. You let us see what it is that we're understanding you by. And then we come and bring it before you, and then you help us to figure you out as we put it into practice. And then we can see the blessings that come from it, or possibly the chastisements that are needed. So this way we correct it for proper alignment, to work at it, even more, to get closer and closer to you, so our mind is in one accord with you. Our mind is your mind and our way is your way, taking out all things that we do not see that you give approval to. So I just thank you, Abba. I thank you for these times that I get to come and just meditate on you and give time to you and worship you and to praise you when given over to time with you. Now and other moments, always trying our best throughout the day as you tell us how to be with our children. That's what you are wanting of a relationship, even with your adult children. To teach us in the morning, to teach us at night, and as we carry out throughout the day, stopping us in our tracks to take a moment, think on something, come read something, helping us with your own adversary. So this way, we know exactly how you get attacked because you're in us, and therefore we're getting attacked. But by your word, you set us free. You show us the escape. You help us, Abba. So I thank you, and I pray for everyone to continue growing in you and always staying hungry and always understanding what it is to serve a God, to serve a king, to serve a judge. So I'm grateful, Abba. I love you so much, and I praise your holy name. Be with us, Abba, always and forever. In Yeshua's name, amen. And well, that is it. My loving family out there who I know and who I've yet to know. And yeah, I'm excited. I hope you all are having a wonderful time reading with me and reading on your own. Never stop searching for Father's heart in every matter. And that takes care of the time. So have a blessed week, and I shall see you again, hopefully next Monday. If not, it'll be soon. Love you all.